Welcome, everyone, to Africa Media, the biggest media platform for all things eye care on the African continent. I'm your co host, Obi Malopi, based all the way in the motherland, South Africa. And of course, I've got my good old friend, my mentor, one of the greatest people you'll ever come across in the eye care industry the world over, Dr. Daryl Glover. How are you, Doc?
Hey, OB, man, you're too kind, man. And everything that you stated about me, I'm flipping right back to you, my man, because you have truly made an impact in my life, my career, personally, professionally, whatever you can think of. You've been impactful, my friend. And I'm super excited to really have this conversation with you today and our guests because, I strongly do feel that Africa has the best stars in eye care, and it's the best
Absolutely.
kept secret, right? And with Africa Media, our goal is to really help to disseminate all the great things that's being done on this continent, but really make an impact and change the way that eye care is, right? So super excited to be here with you today and our amazing guests. OB, if you don't mind sharing who's joining us on this amazing interview today, sir.
Wow. Thank you very much, Dr. Glover. So, everyone, for in case you don't know, the African chapter of the American Academy of Optometry got to be launched in 2023 at New Orleans this year. And we have amazing fellows that joined the Academy this year. And one of those amazing leaders is none other, Dr. Ignatius Yeboah. How are you today, Doc?
Thank you very much, Obi, and it is great meeting you on this platform. And uh, I would say it's more than a pleasure meeting Dr. Glover as well, and the great job he did during New Orleans Academy. Man, he was phenomenal.
That's my guy. That's my guy. As Africa Media, we we're very passionate about showcasing the global eye care community about what's taking place on the African continent. You are one of those leaders who has emerged in 2023, who you have raised your hand and you said, I'm going to partake in the growth and the development of our profession here on the continent. You recently became a fellow, but before we get into that, who is Dr. Ignatius and how did your eye care journey begin?
All right, thanks once again, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank our cherished audience for always tuning in to Africa Media to help carve the African story in terms of eye care. And if you ask, Dr. Ignatius Yeboah is an optometrist by profession, having graduated from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology with a Doctor of Optometry degree, and also a public health enthusiast with a Master of Public Health from the Catholic University of Ghana, and currently a new fellow of the prestigious American Academy of Optometry. And I believe that my journey in optometry began uh, back in my days in high school, when I had the opportunity to read general science. And with a passion of becoming a doctor, I was looking at which field, I should find myself. But in line with my personal ambitions of having my own private practice, I thought optometry was a perfect choice. And I would say it has never been a regret taking that journey into optometry.
Wow, OB, I don't know about you, but I'm blown away. I mean, just the little bit of time that we've been able to spend already, I've learned so much. And just to hear that journey and to have that love for science, I
Yeah.
want to spend a little time on that because, there's a shortage of optometrists in the world, right? And
Right.
anytime I have a child that comes into my exam room, into my exam lane, and they mention their favorite subject is science, I'm all in. I'm trying to recruit them into optometry, whether it's elementary, middle school, high school, whatever grade school it may be, because we all know this is an amazing profession. I mean, look at us. We're here having a conversation about journeys in eye care and how great it is because we understand the importance of sight, right? And we have the opportunity to help people with that every day. And as a result of that, we change lives, we impact lives, and we change the world, right? So super
Right.
excited to hear the story. And we want to dive a little deeper. When it comes to having a love for eye care, there's always room for growth. And curious to know, kind of this path, kind of this journey. what it looked like to become a fellow. So if you don't mind, maybe spending a little time on, what was the mindset and what was that journey like into becoming a fellow?
Thank you, Dr. Glover. Uh, my journey to becoming a fellow of the American Academy of Optometry was actually born out of my desire of trying to give back to society in one way or the other, because I have had a personal uh, mantra of providing hope for the hopeless. And
Mm,
in providing hope for the hopeless, how can I get this achieved? I thought Eyecare is, one major route that I can take to help so many people who are bedeviled with various health challenges, especially in my part of the world, talking specifically of Ghana. And with my practice being in Sunyane and also having practices in some peri-urban areas in Ghana, I have come across a wide array of people who have eye challenges. And I believe that becoming a fellow of the American Academy will also put me in the position of becoming abreast with current trends in eye care, because I believe, having traveled around the world, our people in Africa also deserve the very best when it comes to eye care. And so I took it upon myself personally. If you come to the north region of Ghana, St. Ignatius Eye Center, of which I am the chief executive officer, is, I would say, the pioneer one-stop shop optometry clinic, which has, various state-of-the-art eye care technology. When you come, it's one place that you go. You have our basic examination equipment, slit lamp. You have the visual field analyzer. You have the OCT. And also having joined with ophthalmology, where we are able to do surgeries as well. So I believe it's one thing becoming an optometrist, and it's another thing trying to go the extra mile, which I believe the American Academy of Optometry offers, because with the kind of daily continuous professional development opportunities that it presents, I believe is going to help me give up the very best to my clients, and also to position myself in a leadership role to give back to the optometry profession that has brought me this far.
Hey, OB, I don't know about you. I mean, I hear optometrist, but honestly, I hear president of Ghana, right? I mean, the way you're speaking, the way you're talking, the way you're maneuvering this conversation and navigating, I see more presidential hopes than anything, my friend. And we
Wow.
need healthcare professionals, eye care professionals in those positions, because that's what's going to help to create more awareness, right? We need a seat at the table. And I just want to thank you so much for all the great work. But again, mindset, that might be the theme of this conversation today.
Yeah.
Your mind, the way you're talking, the way you're moving, the way you're strategizing, this is going to change the pulse of healthcare, not just in your country, but in the entire continent of Africa. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
That was absolutely amazing. And what I'm getting from you is a sense of a total commitment to doing whatever it takes to ensure that we build the profession here on the African continent, and we create a pathway for the next generation of leaders to be able to take it even further. Now, in you becoming a fellow, what are some of the practical steps that you then took in ensuring you become a fellow? And second part of the question then becomes, how has those steps, or how have those steps influenced or impacted the kind of work that you're currently busy with right now in Ghana?
All right. Thanks once again, Obi. Some of the practical steps actually involved me getting connected to already fellows of the American Academy, one of which is Dr. Ayukutang Inonta in Congo, who happens to be the president of the
Good man.
African Council of Optometry. Uh, when I had to chair, or I would say I had to represent Ghana as the vice chairperson for the Public Health Committee of the African Council of Optometry, he strongly recommended me taking the journey of becoming a fellow. And I would say that he actually guided me along that process. And thanks to the great minds like Dr. Levi and Dr. Godwin Ovensri, who happened to be my direct mentor, and the entire team of the African chapter of the American Academy of Optometry. Indeed, they've done an incredible job uh, throughout from the process, from the start to the end. They actually guided me throughout the way. And I believe that right from the application processes, when we had to do various case studies, a series of back and forth, with my admittance committee, you present cases, a lot of, valuable input or insights that they give as feedback. I believe it made the process, though rigorous, but it was an amazing one, I should say. And through it all, I have learned along the journey that it's not just about you staying in the consulting room, but there is more, to it if you want to actually be on top of the game when it comes to eye care. And this process of becoming a fellow has really taught me a lot. And, surprisingly, having even gone through getting the pass mark and all those things, the challenging moment for me was the oral examination, Uh, for some of us, having gone through a lot of exams, but hey, when it comes to one-on-one exam, without knowing where the questions were going to come from, I, I, I should say on that D-Day, the examination room was very chilly, but man began to sweat a little bit. But I would say through it all, it was a great journey. And with what happened in New Orleans during Academy 2023, the series of presentations and the opportunity to link up with senior fellows, I believe it has really changed my mindset and perspective when it comes to eye care. And within that short period, having come back to Ghana with my practice, I believe most of the new things I learned during academy, I have started putting them into practice. And I believe getting myself involved in the special interest group is going to help me to actually transition from my current mode of operation when it comes to eye care here in Ghana.
Yeah, I love that, man. And something that you touched on that I think is a very critical and big piece is mentorship. You said that a couple of times in this last segment, and I really want everyone that's listening to this to understand the importance and the power of mentorship. We all need mentors, whether it's in our industry or outside of our industry. We need people that's going to hold us accountable, people that's going to challenge us, people that we can listen to and live through their experiences, so we don't have to go through experiences, and be a better person and be a better clinician as well. So very important to make sure that you have mentorship. Something else that you touched on, and I thought this was huge, and that's really the support, that collaborative effort, right? You mentioned being able to communicate with other colleagues, other eye care professionals. I think that's a two-piece part right there, right? When you think about
Yeah.
it, a lot of times as eye care professionals, especially in Africa, because I had a practice in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, sometimes you feel like you're on an island. But
Mm,
going to academy, you were able to see that you're not the only one that's going through some of these struggles.
right,
You see other doctors from other parts of Africa going through the same thing. And as a collective, you can sit down and have a conversation and say, hey, what's your best practices when you run into this situation? How do you fix this? How do you solve that? And you can
right,
create value to them and they can create value for you. And to your point, that changes how you practice. And then when you add the other piece, going to academy, you're getting people not just from the States, but from Africa, from Europe, from all across the world. So you get more of that global perspective. So that
right,
also brings in new ways of thinking into the continent of Africa as well. But there's
right,
another piece to it. You're bringing your own flair. We're bringing our own flair to the conversation of the States as well. and helping everyone there also be better clinicians as well. So you can see where mentorship is basically the foundation, and
Right.
indirectly we're mentoring others, whether it's doctors in Africa, whether it's doctors in the States, whether it's doctors abroad, wherever it may be. And that's the game changer. That's how we continue to push eye care forward.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Glover has nailed it. This is what we really need in order to put eye care on the global map. And I believe with the help of like-minded people like you, what you've already started doing and through some of these platforms, I believe that the world should watch out to see Africa in terms of eye care.
Amen to that.
Dr.
Right.
Ignatius, how soon after optometrists become optometrists should they consider the trajectory of becoming a fellow of the American Academy of Optometry? Um, is it something that you highly recommend for everyone on the African continent to go through that process, or it should be something that comes because of a certain amount of exposure that you have had as a result of the working environment that you're in? What advice basically would you have for people that are watching this and are thinking to themselves, uh, should I go and become a fellow or not? And at what stage in my career would it be best for me then to go and become a fellow?
Right, Obi. I think for me, I would rather recommend it should even begin whilst you are in optometry school. If
Okay.
you could try and actually become, a student fellow, I believe that in itself will give you a very good footing to actually transition you from becoming a student fellow to a fellow of the academy. And for colleagues who are already out of school, I would say the journey should really begin now, because you are missing a lot if you haven't taken that steps. Uh, because I believe that in as much as we know what we know, no one is privy, to all form of knowledge, I should say. And so there is the need for continuous learning each and every day, even though sometimes our national associations may be giving us such platform. I believe that the American Academy actually offers a unique platform which brings so much diversity, into play. So I would recommend that the journey should really start from now, and getting to that stage, you will tell yourself it's been a worthwhile journey, because I did, and I can see that it's changing the game in the community in which I find myself, and we would want to see more of that happen. And, and we need a lot more to also be there so that we can tell the African story the African way. We need to change the narrative, where others would rather have to travel from afar to come and tell what the African story is. So I would say, all optometrists should try and join the train, and let's get together to make optometry better than it is now.
Wow.
Amen. Amen. Dr. Nish, I love the story. I love the journey, right? But also I like to show the other side, right? Because to become a fellow, there's definitely some challenges to get there, right? I know you touched
Right.
on the examination, right? But I know a lot of people are thinking, man, he went from Ghana all the way to the
Mm.
States. That's an expensive flight, right?
Right.
So I'm
Right.
curious to know, are there any challenges, any financial burdens? What does that look like? Because we want people to have a realistic expectation of or mindset of what they're getting themselves into, because I know this is a commitment, a big
Right.
commitment, and I'd love for you to maybe break that down as well.
No, okay. Thank you, Dr. Glover. I think you've really hit the nail right on the head, especially those of us from, I would say, low income and middle income countries. When it comes to some of these, the financial commitment is indeed huge. And so, in as much as we recommend, it actually comes with a lot of financial burden. However, I think the American Academy has also acknowledged this. And that is why we now have the African chapter of the academy. And I would say the leaders are doing so well. For some of us, it was by dint of the hard work, of the leadership of the African chapter that we were able to enjoy a lot of discount offers, you know. And now, even concerning the registration fee, there were a lot of waivers that were given as a result of the hard work of the leadership of the African chapter of the academy. So I think we should also try and make that commitment. In as much as financial constraints might be there, if we put in the effort, I believe that leadership is also trying to play its role of helping meet you along the way so that we could all help each other to make the story sweeter than it is now.
I love it. I love it. And to kind of spin from that financial piece, and I used the word burden earlier. I don't think it's a burden actually. When I sit down and think about it, it's actually freedom to practice at a higher level, right? Because you're
Right.
getting outside of your own box and learning new things and new ways to practice and make sure
Right.
those patients get the best care. But I want to kind of spin away from the financial piece, but look at more of the time commitment, right?
Right.
Because let's be real, you're in patient care full time, you're managing a practice, you may have a family, you like to do things
Yeah.
outside of
Yeah.
work. What does that time commitment look like for you?
For me, it's really time, you know, consuming. But I believe if anything is worthwhile, then it must be done. And if it must be done, it must be done well. In as
Yes.
much as, we have ourselves uh, parading as optometrists, I believe that is the unique aspect of the profession, the kind of training we go through. I believe position us in such a way that we are capable of surmounting some of these challenges. So I don't think that the time constraint should actually be an impediment. Whoever commits himself to doing this, I believe, is capable. And I believe that in the wisdom of the academy, they've also structured it in such a way that it's quite flexible. The duration you have between 1 to 3 years, to complete a fellowship. And even if they need for any break, they acknowledge that. So we all might not get there within the same time frame, but if we put our hand to it, I believe it is doable. In as much as others have been able to do it, nothing could prevent us from all achieving this.
Hey, it goes back to the mindset, right? I mean, this entire conversation, that's the foundation, right? I think anyone that's out there that's looking to make this commitment, to make this jump, to mirror your journey, they really have to have the mindset. And
Certainly, certainly.
I'm just excited about, seeing all the great work that's done in Africa on all levels. And I can't wait to continue to share the story with Obi. Obi and I, we started Africa Media. It's probably been how many years now, Ob?
For
Five,
5 years,
six
if not
years, something
six.
like that. And our whole goal was to really create the gateway to eye care in Africa for everyone to be on the same page, the same accord, and
Right.
be able to learn from each other, but most importantly, to be able to tell our stories. So today is a very special day for us to sit down with you and be able to hear your story and share your story, because this is going to go beyond the borders of the African continent. This is global, baby. This is a
Yeah.
game
Right.
changer. And
Right.
you're a great
Right.
ambassador for Africa, a
Thank
fantastic
you.
ambassador for Ghana. And we just want to thank you so much for joining us today on this interview. If we could ask you one last question, when it's your time to retire, when it's your time to leave a legacy, what do you want to be known for?
Ignatius would like to be known for as a champion in the field of optometry, who, in his period of practice and even thereafter, is going to serve as a mentor to up and coming optometrists in Ghana, the African continent, and the world at large.
Wow. 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 Dr. Ignatius, this whole time I'm quiet because I'm blown away by the extreme levels of commitment that you have to excellence in eye care, but most importantly, excellence in who we are as human beings. Thank you for that. You've challenged me today, but we bring it back to you because we're telling the African story. We're starting a series on African media called Building Private Practice in Eye Care on the African continent, basically. And we would love for you to be one of those champions that you mentioned that will be able to help us navigate what do we need to do in building private practice on the African continent. And we would love to know what's involved in doing so in Ghana, in Kenya, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, and so forth. But it would be so nice if we could have you again on the platform telling that process, those systems, those protocols that are involved in getting to the level at which you already are and are still going to. So the challenge is now on your end, and we look forward to having you come back onto the
It's
platform.
always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. For me, optometry is what makes me who I am. And as I have been championing over here in my locality, doing a lot of interviews to educate the masses about what optometry is all about, and the need for proper eye health education. I would love anything, optometry, and my quota, I am ever prepared to contribute in. I believe that optometry has given me so much, and so
Come
the
on,
onus lies on me to
come on,
also give back.
come on, come on. What a perfect way to end, eh? Wow, 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 wow. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us today on African Media. Thank you, Dr. Ignatius, for giving us the opportunity to sit down with you and learn from you. Thank you for exposing the rest of the African community and the global eye care community to what's happening with eye care on the continent through the African chapter of the American Academy of Optometry. Everyone, make sure to share this link with your colleagues, your friends, because what a truly inspiring story Dr. Ignatius Yeboah just shared with us on African Media. Make sure to connect with us as African Media across all social media platforms. And if you're not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, you better do so right now because amazing content is being uploaded over the next few weeks that's going to change and impact your life.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and we hope to see optometry growing bigger than ever.
Man, incredible. I'm gonna end this here. Wow.